I will briefly introduce Wirecard AG. Wirecard AG was a German fintech company established in 1999. The company provided digital payment services such as online payment, processing, car insurance, and risk management solutions for businesses. Wirecard benefited from the rapid growth of e-commerce and cashless payment. As more businesses and consumers use digital payment system, Wirecard was able to expand its operation and become more recognized in the tech industry. Now, after understanding the company background, we can now look at Wirecard business model. Now, business model. Wirecard core business focus on digital payment services. First, the company processes digital payment for businesses and customers. Second, it provided financial service to merchants. Third, Wirecard works with third-party partners in different countries. Its operation depends heavily on international markets, especially in Asia and the Middle East. Because of this wide complex businesses structure, Wirecard needed strong internal control and effective monitoring. Through this business model, Wirecard was able to grow quickly and build a strong reputation. I will talk about growth and reputation of Wirecard AG. Wirecard experienced rapid expansion and became one of Germany's leading fintech company. The company was listed on the DAX index, which include major companies in Germany. This increased Wirecard reputation and attracted strong investor interest. At the time, Wirecard was seen as technology success story. Many people believe the company has strong future potential because of its fast growth and its role in the digital payment industry. However, behind this strong growth and reputation, problems start to appear in the company financial reporting. Now, I'm done with part. Now I pass to Osvaldo.
How, in the space of just 9 days, did Wirecard's share price go from 100 euros a share to less than 2 euros a share? And how did the company end up in a place where they're filing for insolvency and owe creditors $4 billion US? The answer lies in the fact that $2 billion US is missing, the equivalent of the entire company's operating profit. Wirecard hid the fraud from financial and regulatory institutions, auditors, and the government.
Now, I will presenting about the beginning of issue. Wirecard problems began when questions were raised about the company financial reports. There were doubts about the accuracy of its reported profits and the transparency of its overseas operation. However, these early warning signs were not taken seriously, allowing to the problem continue. Now, I will continue to the next slide. Major scandal. In June 2020, a major scandal happened when a 1.9 billion in Wirecard cash balance could not be verified. The funds were likely non-existent. This triggered a massive financial scandal and caused investor confidence to collapse. And the next is, I will talking about the collapse. On 18 June 2020, Wirecard announced the missing funds could not be verified. Only a few days later, on June 25, 2020, Wirecard filed for insolvency. This showed that the company collapsed within days after the scandal became public. So now, I will pass to my friend, Danial Haiqal.
Okay, now I will explain about the main impact of the Wirecard scandal. First, the scandal causes billions of euro in losses to investors. Many investors trusted Wirecard financial report, but the company collapsed after 1.9 billion in cash could not be verified. Second, the case damaged Germany's financial reputation. Wirecard was once seen as a successful German fintech company, so its collapse affected market confidence. Third, the regulatory body BaFin was heavily criticized for failing to detect the problem earlier. Because of this, Wirecard became one of the largest corporate fraud scandal in Germany. After we understanding the impact, we can now look at the key lesson from this case. So now let's move to key lesson.
What Wirecard had claimed the whole time was that they were using third parties to process payments. These third parties would then give Wirecard a commission, netting them $2 billion and the majority of their profit. The reality was, it all appears to be an accounting sham. The $2 billion wasn't in the Philippines. The banks that were supposed to be holding the Wirecard money told investigators that they had no idea what they were talking about. The bank stated that this money simply didn't exist.
No money, none of Wirecard's missing $2.1 billion ever entered into the Philippines. And we're hearing from Wirecard itself that they now believe that the $2.1 billion probably does not exist. Now, as you may recall, on Friday, BPI and BDO, the two top Philippine banks, had revealed that they did not have any relationship with Wirecard.
One important lesson is the need to, when all the weaknesses existed together, fraud become easier to hide for many years. Therefore, the Wirecard case show that even a large and fast-growing company still need strong governance, effective auditing, and proper internal control. So, in conclusion, Wirecard is an important reminder that without strong internal control and supervision, financial fraud can happen even in a company that appears successful. Now I will pass to my friend Nazim to present about next slide.
So, I will be presenting about the overview of internal control problems. Now, I will explain the main problems in internal control that is found in this case. First, the company had a very weak control over their environment. This means there was a poor ethical leadership and weak governance within the organization. Second, accountability was poor because employees and management were not properly supervised or held responsible for their actions. There was also a limited monitoring of their financial activities, so suspicious transactions were not detected early. In addition, there was a lack of independent verification. Financial information was not properly reviewed by independent reviewers. Because of all these weaknesses, the fraud was able to continue for several years without being discovered. So problem 1, weak board oversight. One major problem was weak board oversight, where the company did not have an audit committee, which is important for monitoring their financial reporting and internal controls. There was also no independent monitoring body to review management actions. As a result, the management decisions were rarely questioned or challenged. This created a lack of accountability and transparency within the company, making it easier for fraudulent activities to happen. Moving on to recommendation. Here's how to solve this problem. The company should establish an independent audit committee. The audit committee should monitor the company's financial reporting process to ensure accuracy and reliability. It should also oversee both internal and external audits and to strengthen their internal control systems. With properly independent monitoring, the company can improve accountability, transparency, and reduce the risk of fraud in the future. Next, we have the problem of concentration of power. The second problem was the concentration of power among few executives. For example, a CEO held multiple important roles at the same time. This gave too much power to one person. There was also weak segregation of duties, meaning important tasks and approvals were not separated among different employees. Because of this, management could easily override controls and make decisions without proper checks and balances. Then we have our second recommendation. To address this issue, the company should separate executives' responsibilities, different roles should be assigned to different individuals to avoid excessive concentration of power. The company also requires an independent approval for major decisions, especially in financial transactions. And lastly, strengthening the governance structure will improve internal control and help prevent management override and fraud. That is all from me. I will pass it to our next presenter, Aziz Iskandar.
The third problem was weak internal audit. Wirecard's internal audit scope was limited, and the company had poor visibility across its global operations. Its financial data was also fragmented, making important information difficult to monitor. As a result, many issues remained undetected. For our recommendation, it is to establish a strong group-wide internal audit function. Internal audit should have full access to all records, including overseas audit subsidiary records. It should also report directly to an independent board instead of relying only on management. The fourth problem was the failure of the whistleblowing system. Complaints were ignored or suppressed. Employees were not properly protected and investigations were not independent. As a result, fraud warning signs were hidden. The recommendation from us is to create an independent whistleblowing system. Complaints should be reported directly to the audit committee. Employees must also be protected against retaliation so that they can report misconduct without fear.
For this problem, Wirecard had weak controls over verification processes. The company failed heavily on third-party partners in overseas markets like Singapore, Manila, and also Dubai. Many of these partners are lack clear transparency and were difficult to audit properly. In addition, the company's cash balances were not independently verified because the auditors relied too much on documents provided by Wirecard itself. As a result, false financial information was accepted and remained undetected for years. For the recommendation, to solve this problem, Wirecard should have implement stronger verification controls. First, the company needed to conduct due diligence on all third-party partners before working with them. Second, auditors should obtain direct bank confirmations instead of relying only on company documents. And the last one, all major revenue transactions should be independently verified to ensure the financial statements are accurate and reliable. So we are going to the next presenter.
Over the next week, Marcus Braun resigns, and he's arrested shortly after.
Marcus Brown has been arrested. Now, this is obviously a scandal that is becoming or is deepening. It is no longer only about missing money. Wirecard is saying that potentially up to 1.9 billion euros could be missing. It's now also obviously a criminal investigation, and one that is serious enough for the prosecutors to take this step and actually arrest and detain the former CEO.
Wirecard then makes a statement. They admit that the money probably never existed in the first place. Shortly after, they file for insolvency. Jan Marsalek, Wirecard's former chief operating officer and Marcus's right-hand man, has vanished. German newspapers report that he fled to Russia or Belarus. There has been ripple effects from the collapse. German pensioners have lost money. Other payment companies owned by Wirecard were thrown into chaos. For example, the firm, Pocket, has had to freeze funds for its UK clients, leaving some in danger of having no hot water or gas. And with that is the end of the Wirecard saga. It's how a company went from a small startup to superstardom in the European tech world to losing 99% of its share price in just over a week. The story raises questions of the effectiveness of regulators, auditors, rating agencies, and financial watchdogs who all let it happen right under their noses. Was there corruption involved to have this go on for over a decade? Perhaps time will tell.
when the Financial Times was starting to report about irregularities when it comes to their accounting. That was rebuffed violently by Wirecard, but also the German regulator didn't really look into the matter thoroughly. Instead of it, they actually looked into whether the Financial Times journalist has done its job right. So today, and also already it started yesterday, there's a huge discussion in Germany whether or not everybody was far too lenient on the company, because nobody apparently looked really into the business model, neither the regulator nor also the analyst. At some point in time, one analyst from a very well-known bank here in Germany called the reporting from the Financial Times fake news. Apparently, Wirecard was always shielded somewhat as the poster child of being a tech company in Germany, which we don't have too many of.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about fraud triangle overview. For this section, we will analyze the Wirecard scandal using fraud triangle. The fraud triangle consists of three elements: pressure, opportunity, and rationalism. In Wirecard case, all three elements exist at same time, making fraud easier to occur. Okay, next one, pressure. The first element is pressure. Wirecard faced higher pressure. The first element is pressure. Wirecard faced high expectation to continue showing strong growth. The company needed to maintain its share price and investor confidence. The CEO also faced personal financial pressure. As a result, there was motivation to manipulate financial results, so the company would continue to appear successful. The next one, opportunity. The second element is opportunity. Wirecard had complex global structure with operation in many countries. At the same time, its internal controls were weak and transparency was poor. This created an opportunity for fraud to be hidden more easily. Okay, rationalization. The final element is rationalization. In Wirecard case, criticism from outsider was treated as attack on the company. Whistleblowers were also ignored. Over time, fraud could be justified internally as a way of protect the company reputation and growth. This shows a serious ethical failure. I'm passing to next presenter, Danial.
In conclusion, Wirecard's collapse that weak internal controls can destroy even a large company. Governance failure can also increase fraud risk, especially when management is not fully monitored. Strong auditing is essential to ensure that proper management on financial reports are reliable and accurate. Overall, even fast-growing companies must maintain the proper internal controls, effective auditing, and also strong supervision. Thank you for watching this breakdown of this Wirecard AG company.